Alrighty. Well, thanks again. Obviously, everyone for spending. This will be probably about an hour an event. Again, it'll also be recorded. If you have to tune out early, then we're gonna send out the recording to all the attendees, so you can watch it at your own time. But super excited to have everyone here, both panelists and attendees. We're joined by four awesome founders, all who are currently raising on Republic as we speak. And so throughout the event, you'll see QR codes and links to their campaign pages. Please do go visit those campaign pages. Check out what they're doing a little bit more in depth. And also throughout this event, please do ask any questions throughout the chat roll or in the Q&A function here in Zoom. Towards the tail end of the program, we're going to get to a Q&A and we'll be able to tackle all the audience questions as well. So joined with me today is, like I said, four awesome founders, all who are raising with Republic. Alex, my bad in advance here. We've got Alex Kirakidis, founder, CEO of Bitterbrains. We've got Daniel Rodriguez, founder, CEO of Currently Wine Company. Philip Dixon, he is founder, CEO of Monorail. And then we got Carl Radke, who's a co-founder at Softbar. So again, thank you to all four of you guys for carving out some time. And I know our audience here would love to hear from you. I do see I already have a raised hand. Andrew, I love the engagement. If you got any questions, go ahead and send them through the chat roll or in the Q&A function in Zoom. All of that said, just a couple quick disclaimers, of course. Everything you hear today, it's not financial advice. Please do your due diligence and research before making investment decisions, and always have the understanding past performance does not indicate future returns. So with that said, I'd love to get us underway. And first and foremost, we have Bitterbrains coming up. So Alex, would love to give you the floor here if you'd like to share your screen and say hello.
Thank you, Craig. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. I'm going to share my screen now.
Okay.
And let me know if you can see the slides. You should be seeing like the white.
Actually, I'm just seeing your, there you go. Now I got the slides.
Okay, great.
Cool.
Okay, so I'm Alex Kyriakidis. That was a fair try, Craig. I'm the CEO and founder of Bitterbrains, and I'm based in Amsterdam. At Bitterbrains, we make developers' lives easier with accessible education, credible certifications, and engaging community events. We started the business in 2017, and in 2023, we served over 2 million developers in 156 countries, including many from top companies like Google, Microsoft, Samsung, Accenture, NASA, and many more. And we also hosted the largest online conference in our industry, both for Vue developers and also for front-end developers focused on JavaScript. The reason why so many developers and businesses utilize our services is because the software engineering labor market is a lose-lose game. On one side, being a developer is really hard. So developers first have to learn the skills to become a developer. And then we constantly have to keep up with new technologies, learn new practices, like fix problems, and all while running to meet deadlines and solve day-to-day problems. And on the other hand, the businesses lose billions every year due to underskilled developers and lack of resources. So I would like to give you some history about our business. And the list that I have here are mainly like the most popular products and platforms we have developed over the past 8 years. Back in 2017, I started Bitterbrains with Vue School in order to help developers code more efficiently. And over the years, we developed a very large community that we have been supporting by constantly developing more products based on their needs and requests. And until last year, our business has been solely focused on this niche, the Vue developers, and we have been fully bootstrapped. Now, in 2023, this started changing. That year, we developed our own in-house examination and certification platform for developers in order to help the devs improve their career by proving that they are really good at their craft. And this platform was a big success in the Vue community, so we decided that we have to replicate this success and support more developers worldwide in more frameworks, both in the front end, but also in other languages as well, because there was no other business that has developer examination and assessment to that depth and to that degree that we developed in-house. And we started this expansion successfully last year, where we developed our first products that were not targeted to Vue developers. And at Bitterbrains, we develop effective solutions by working together with our community. We have been seeing stunning results with 88% of the people and the professional developers who took the exams rating a certification for successfully assessing their development skills, and 76% of the professionals who took the exams, even though they were already using these technologies at work, they saw their skills improving either through our self-guided preparation programs or by taking the exams themselves. Just for reference here, I have highlighted a testimonial from the principal software engineer from Salesforce, who found our program the best certification procedure he has taken. On the other side, the creators of some of the largest web development tools worldwide, like the Vue.js framework, Vite, and Next, find our contribution to the development community instrumental. During these years, we have achieved many milestones that we are really proud about. And this is in many different aspects. It can be about like a huge milestone is the size of the community that we have developed. Nowadays, we have grown a community of over 800,000 developers. Also, to date, we have trained developers from thousands of internationally recognized companies, some of them that you can see on the screen in this slide. We're currently, as a business, expanding into a larger market in EdTech, which is over $140 billion, and it is expected to double in the next 5 years. And this is very interesting. According to the most recent Future of Jobs report that was done by the World Economic Forum, published this January, by 2030, they expect that there will be 170 million new jobs created. And the software and application developers are in the top 3 on the list. And all of these new jobs will need technical training. And in fact, new technical training for technologies that are coming up and are new. And it is also expected for the developer roles to transform so that the developers will be working differently due to the rise of AI. So at Bitterbrains, it is becoming our focus to upskill and reskill the developers for this new era, and we anticipate to experience exponential growth in the coming years. So with the funds that we are raising right now, we're planning to accelerate our expansion to the broader development ecosystem, as well as develop all of these new courses dedicated to AI, machine learning, and all of these new technologies that are coming up today. And of course, we also plan to focus on marketing and B2B sales as the technical education market is growing rapidly. With this raise and our expansion plans, we project to increase our revenue up to 50 times within the next 5 years. Bitterbrains is backed by an amazing international team of 31 people, industry-leading advisors, and exclusive partnerships for offering official courses and certifications. And for some of the technologies that we train, we have exclusive rights to offer official training content that we work with the open source teams. So I invite you to join our mission of shaping the future of developer education. You can find all of the details of everything I said here and all of our pitch deck and financial information on our campaign page on republic.com/bitterbrains. And if you want to discuss further with me, I would love to chat. You can book a call with me directly on call.link/bitterbrains. Yeah, thank you for watching.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Alex. I love the global team that you have there as well. I saw those flags. You're all over the world.
Yeah,
Uh,
thank you.
yeah. I actually have a fun question for you here before I let you go. Jake's curious, where did the name Bitterbrains come from?
That's a good question. So the Bitterbrains initially came up with a name when I figured I put a name in View School because it will become bigger, and it kind of reflects all of the bitter moments that developers have, like like a late night in the basement trying to solve a bug. Like it's really difficult to figure it out. You don't know what's right, you don't know what's wrong, and you have to go through all of these difficult moments until you really nail it and you kind of figure it out. And it's something that developers forget. Like you have the senior syndrome. Once you learn, you know the craft, and you kind of forget all of the bitter moments that went through. So this is kind of a tribute to that.
That's great. Yeah, I mean it's a very fulfilling journey, but I'm sure very aggravating. Yes, throughout those all-nighters that I'm sure you're pulling.
Yeah, it's intense.
Well, amazing. Thanks again for the great presentation. Um, who we got next? We're going alphabetical order here. Hey, Philip, are you okay? You good
Yeah,
to
I'm
roll?
here.
All right, brilliant. Good stuff. Good stuff. You should be available to share your screen if you'd like.
All right, let me jump in.
All right, appreciate that. Hey, thanks for hopping in.
All right, everyone can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
All right. Yeah, so my name's Philip Dixon. I'm the founder and CEO of Monorail. I've been in finance actually since I was 15 years old. That might sound kind of funny to most, but my mother actually got me in the business. So I've been around the block on this industry for a while and seen a lot of finance stuff kind of grow and change over the years, obviously with things like acorns and fintech and financial technology and seeing Robinhood grow. So I'm excited to show you what Monorail is all about. So what is Monorail? Monorail is a fintech app, a money management app with low management costs. But more importantly, what I really want you to focus on is that it's a fintech solution to the parallel conservative economy. Now, some of you might have heard kind of what that is, what a parallel economy. But if you don't know what that is, the conservative parallel economy is an economy of companies that offers products and services to, let's say, a conservative audience or patriotic audience. And to give a couple examples, you may have seen some of these before. Patriot Mobile has done very well in this economy, kind of offering products and services up to about 100,000 subscribers. Public Square, who just went IPO, about 1.6 million people. Rumble is probably the more notable one, 78 million people. And there's other companies within this parallel economy. And the reason I want to talk about that is the important part. True Social would be one of those companies that fits in here, and other companies that you see around this wheel. But the reason I bring up this important point is that within fintech and the kind of saturation of fintech companies, we wanted to come out with a fintech app that wasn't competing. And so there's no competitors within this economy of companies that's selling these types of products and services. So Monorail doesn't have that competition. And that's the huge value and opportunity for Monorail as a finance company, being the first direct to consumer company. As I kind of mentioned a little bit about other companies within fintech and the parallel economy, I already mentioned Acorns. I'm sure most of us know Robinhood with stock trading apps and robo-advisors like Stash and the conservative organizations that I mentioned. And so Monorail combines all these things into one, and that presents the uniqueness of it. And so a conservative individual looking for a platform that shares their values, you can download Monorail and either start building your own portfolio through stock trading, buying individual stocks or ETFs. And our app's going to guide you kind of into companies that lean certain directions with a certain score. So if they lean more obviously conservative, it's going to have a positive score. If it leans more to the left, a more of a negative score. And for individuals that, let's say, don't know how to invest and want Monorail to kind of educate them, we have more features, let's say, quote unquote, robo advising, where Monorail can manage your portfolio, your retirement account, your IRA, or if you're just getting started, you can create an account and start adding money every week or month on the platform. And it's very friendly in that respect. You know, someone can start with as little as $100 that apply. And then with stock trading, obviously, as little as $1 on that side of things. So allow our users, our conservative audience, to invest where their values are. And the portfolio is comprised of companies that align with conservative values. And also importantly to note, the portfolio still performs very well. My portfolio year to date in this platform has done about 21%. But that's me personally, and that's not indicative of other users and what their returns would be, depending on when they got in the portfolio or the stock market. So that's the features that Monorail offers. We launched and we started advertising in June of 24, our message, and started getting the message out there and got some traction. We're on iOS, Android, and web right now. And as we started to advertise, we actually started to really pick up some names within this economy, the parallel economy, like Lara Trump. I don't know if you've heard of Charlie Kirk, but he's a pretty large influencer. Actually, Lara is as well. They really liked what Monorail was doing and started promoting us and kind of helping us get the message out. We've continued to kind of get more in depth with just this set of influencers that you're seeing right here for the company. Charlie Kirk just signed actually another contract with us to do a more in-depth advertising campaign, promoting us and stuff like that. Some other traction, and actually we're moving so fast, this deck doesn't incorporate some of the stuff that is on here, but we actually partnered with an ETF company, an exchange traded fund company. If you're not familiar with what that is, it's kind of like a mutual fund within our space called Inspire, and they just partnered with us, and the CEO and founder actually joined the board of our company. We're going to add that to the deck, but it's, like I said, moving very quickly. We do have a business model, so you can see when you go on iOS or our website, we charge $3 per month, and any assets managed by our platform is what's 40 basis points or 0.4 on our platform. And so things continue to grow, right? If you look at FinTech, if you follow it, it still has a strong growth trajectory. Now, the important thing to note is we're not competing against the traditional FinTech market like Acorns, Robinhood. We're not trying to go after those customers. We're solely operating in the parallel economy with the slide I showed you before. So we're not trying to go after a public customer or a Robinhood customer. So that's kind of an important note there. We have built, and again, this slide's even actually out of date as of today. We're growing fast. We have a full team on board of experienced people from Wall Street and technology, our CTO, our chief investment officer. Our board is starting to grow with more kind of Wall Street veterans to help us scale. Kevin Harrington, one of the original sharks from Shark Tank, is on our product as an advisor. And so we're continuing to build our team out as our revenue grows and as we raise more capital on Republic. And we actually have two rounds right now. We have Republic, and we also have a much higher net worth for Reg D offering. So we've raised so far in this project about upwards of 3.5 million, and we're raising on Republic to help expand that raise and develop our product and expand our marketing. Our marketing is our primary goal right now with user acquisition and just getting our app out there more and more as a platform. So be happy to answer any questions at this point.
Amazing. Thanks, Philip. Let's see. I just had the chat roll up. Let me shoot a question your way while I have you here and the juices are flowing. Compare it. Yeah, compare it to Webull, Robinhood. I know that you said you're running in a parallel, so it's, I mean, probably more robo on the robo side, but compare yourself to some of those household names, Webull and a Robinhood.
Yeah, that's a great question. So Robinhood's going to be more like self-directed. So someone that knows how to invest, right? They know they want to invest in Tesla. They know the companies. They know kind of like what to look at in the financials versus quote unquote robo advisor, maybe a Webull. Although Webull, I think, is more of that self-directed.
Yeah.
But I'm sure everyone's heard of like Acorns or Stash, right? So that's going to be the other side of Monorail. Someone that doesn't know how to invest, they can allow Monorail to manage their money in a robo-advisory capacity.
Yeah. Okay. There was one called Autopilot as well, as like mirrors different politicians' portfolios and things of that nature. So kind of similar vein where it's not a direct competition to, the self-directed brokerage, but rather it's a little more managed.
Correct.
Gotcha. And that justifies the AUM fee as well.
Correct.
Okay, brilliant. Well, Phil, appreciate that. I'm sure more questions will trickle in. We got Daniel back here after a slight computer freeze. He's ready to roll. So Daniel would love to give you the floor here.
Yes, I promise I know how to push the unmute button and to speak in front of an audience. So thank you, everybody. Sorry for that hiccup. So my name's Daniel Rodriguez. I am the founder of Currently Wine Company. I saw that we had people from all over the place. There was also, I was noticing a fair number of people that are from coastal locations. So just as a little way of background, I have spent the past about decade working as a CMO for some high growth tech companies in the B2B space. On the side, all along, while I was like doing tech marketing things, I was also like doing the sommelier thing just as a hobbyist, like taking courses, like totally obsessed with wine, love going down the rabbit hole. And a year ago, a year and a half ago, an opportunity came about so that I could potentially acquire a wine brand. And the wine brand was interesting because it had an environmental cause give back component to the brand. And the brand was called Proud Pour. And I really loved the idea of this environmental cause give back component to a company generally, and wanting to then also do something in wine. I looked at it and I said, I think this could actually be a real kind of opportunity in the market, but we would have to do the company differently than it's been done in the past. If you have any sense of be interest in eco brands, you as a consumer, you might say, oh, I buy, based on eco criteria. But that's actually a really small sliver of the market that actually makes a purchase based on caring about the environment and wanting to lower the carbon footprint of consumption. We might say that we care about that generally, but when we actually buy things, that's not necessarily why most people buy. So what I did was I acquired, so a year ago, I acquired Proud Pour. I recapitalized it by raising a round of funding. This is a continuation of that raise. So I had a $1.2 million target. And I raised about $900,000 a year ago, and we're finishing that raise right now with the crowdfunding. And I left my corporate job. I joined this full time, and I reconcepted the brand. And I did two things that I think were really different and important to capture what I see as a huge untapped market opportunity in wine. The first is that we decided from an eco benefit standpoint, we decided to really focus more on the use case benefits that come from something being ecologically good rather than just the carbon footprint benefits. So we have made a lot of really intentional choices with the brand that are good for the environment. We changed our packaging to be from glass to aluminum. And our bottle is incredibly lightweight and great for the environment because the carbon footprint of wine is mostly in the shipping around of heavy glass bottles of wine from point A to point B. But guess what? Most people actually don't really care about that, and I don't necessarily need them to. What we want is for people to love a brand, and we want them to find something really interesting that they would be gravitating toward. So we changed the packaging type, but we really made sure that we were communicating not the eco benefits per se, but we designed it really beautifully. And we designed it to be all about this coastal lifestyle brand. And I noticed we had people in New York and down in New Jersey, down into Texas. There was someone in Florida. I'm sure there was someone also, up in the NorCal area. We're at Dillon Beach Resort, by the way, if you know Dillon Beach Resort. I hope you could tell when you look at Currently Wine Co. and you see the brand and you see the packaging that this is screaming coastal lifestyle brand, right? It's not screaming eco brand. And this is important because we need to get really big and popular and appeal to a broad number of people in order to make an eco impact. And that was like the first really big insight that I had with the brand was if we're going to change something, we're going to launch something, we actually need to play to a broad audience's interests. And what do most people care about? They care about something being in a pretty package, and they care about something tasting really good. And we nailed both of those things. The other, I think it's important to tell everybody because some of the even materials that I put together several months ago, it really makes it seem like the company is an eco company. And in some ways, again, that kind of pigeonholes us. So some of the stuff that that we've done is back of label, right? Like we've put our environmental impact on the back of the label, and we continue to support 3 different nonprofit causes with a portion of our proceeds. And those 3 nonprofit causes are all nearshore causes. So they're related to oyster restoration and sea turtle rehabilitation and coral reef regeneration for the Miami person. We work at Sea Corps International. So we have a ton of intention, but it's kind of behind the brand. We've made that kind of layered behind the brand. And so we're really excited to be able to bring a brand new brand, a lifestyle brand to market and talk about the benefits that brings to customers. So what are those benefits? So I've been out talking, I live in Boston. We're launching this brand very much in the coastal New England area. So, Cape Cod, Martha's Vineyard, Nantucket. We're going to be down in New York. We will be on the Hamptons this summer, which is really exciting. All the way down, Rhode Island down into Connecticut. So the aluminum bottle that we are in, what's really awesome about it is that it is shatterproof. So it opens up all of these use cases that people who like to enjoy wine haven't previously been able to do, right? So you can take it safely on a boat. You can take it to the beach. It can be safely consumed by a pool, by a fire pit. We discovered, which we didn't even know when we concepted the brand, that because the bottle, this is a full-size bottle of wine, but it feels smaller in your hand. And that's because it's lacking all of that thick glass. So the 750 milliliter bottle, it actually fits in the cup holder of a golf cart, which has now opened up use cases for us to be at country clubs and being served at the turn, where people want to be able to have a good bottle of wine that they could share with the person riding in the golf cart with them, and they can just safely have it on the golf cars because there's no glass on most golf courses. So it's been really great to be able to lean into the beneficial use cases that we have for the brand. And I think that the main thing that we were kind of looking at when we looked at the market opportunity in wine is that wine is just so stuffy and traditional, and it doesn't communicate to a younger Gen Z or millennial audience very well. And I don't know if people have seen this in their own lives, but it always seems like the cool brands are either in beer or even in water or in ready to drink cocktails or in seltzers. And it's like wine is just this industry that for some reason doesn't know how to innovate. So I came from outside of wine and I looked at that and I said, well, let's just innovate in wine and see what happens. And the reaction that I'm getting from consumers has been unbelievable. The bottle is like a tractor beam. People, when I'm in tastings and I just came back from Newport, Rhode Island today. People just want to hold the bottle and touch it. It's so cool. And then people are tasting the wine. It tastes like a Sancerre style Sauvignon Blanc. And people are loving the wine. So we're going to have other wines in the future. We're raising this money so that we can really, hit the ground running, launching the brand. We just brought Currently to market just a few months ago, and we're seeing very exciting traction. Like I mentioned, that we got a New York distributor that just happened on Friday, which is really, really exciting. It's hard to get distributors. It's hard to get into market. And we got this distributor in New York because one of the sales reps who covers the Hamptons got a hold of our wine because I've been trying very hard to get it in front of people. And she said, this is going to kill it here. We need to have this product. I tasted it. I love it. Like, I know exactly how this is going to sell. So I'm really excited because we have something here. Like, there is certainly something here. And I think that the biggest word that people have been using is different. We're building a different type of brand. The way that we're going to be successful, as I mentioned, is getting big and getting popular. Of course, that has to start small. So what we're doing is focusing geographically. Now, the wine can be ordered today and shipped to almost any state in the entire country, except like Utah. So for those of you who are out there right now and watching this and you're interested, you can go and order the wine. And I would love to be able to also provide, if we could, maybe a discount code for those who are in attendance so that they can order the wine and taste the wine and see for themselves the reaction that you have from people. Because what we're building here is, first and foremost, I think, all about community. And we're also really about ownership. And that was part of the reason why, rather than just continuing to raise from kind of the high net worth people that had been investing in the company, that I broadened it to use the Republic platform, because we want ownership to be for everybody. And we think that wine generally is this kind of like, only for snobby rich people thing. And that's wrong. And that's not how it should be. And we want currently to be different than that. And that's why we are extending the ownership opportunities broadly. So really excited to answer any other questions that people have, because in some ways we're just getting started, but things are picking up pretty quickly.
Daniel, thank you so much. And yeah, I mean, opening the door and opening access, that's a mission we can get behind for sure. So
one thing I wanted to mention actually about this, just transparency and access and opening the door. I'm building this company in public. So every day on LinkedIn. So if you have your phone and you just really quickly want to go to LinkedIn, find me on LinkedIn. My name is Daniel Rodriguez. If you type in Daniel Rodriguez currently, you'll probably find me pretty quickly. I post every day on LinkedIn, and I've been doing this since the beginning of August. And it's been incredible to see the reaction from the community, the helpfulness of that community with sales introductions, investment interest. And it, I think, has allowed people to feel like they are really on this journey with us. And it's been really rewarding. The way that we will succeed and the way that people will realize a return on their investment is that currently we'll get acquired by a large player in the space. That's the way wine works. That's just the way this industry works. I'm not going to change that. And the big players, they look for the hot new companies. They try to keep tabs on them. They maybe put a little bit of money in, and then they acquire them and then take them to that next level. That's how it works. Just over the past 2 days, I have had 2 people from corporate dev at very large, the short list of people that would acquire us, proactively reach out to me on LinkedIn, not just like connect with me, like send me a note asking if they could have a conversation because they are seeing what currently is doing. I bring that up because that is where this is going to go, and I want people to understand that 3 to 6 year kind of time horizon is, it's real.
for sure. Jake, I've been monitoring that Poppy acquisition from PepsiCo. Pretty way too close, man. My wife loves Poppy, but that's a question I'll shoot your way, Daniel, here in a few minutes. Just talking about exit strategies. Thank you for that presentation. I would love to give this over to Carl, last but certainly not least, to tell us a little bit more about Softbar. Carl, take it away, man.
Yeah, thank you guys. Hi guys, I'm Carl Radke. I'm the founder of Softbar. So, I'll get into a couple slides, but I just want to kind of introduce myself. I have a background in entrepreneuring. I actually launched an alcohol company in 2018 with my 2 best friends, Kyle and Amanda. That brand's called Loverboy. We've grown that brand nationwide, about 40 plus states, and with Walmart, Whole Foods, Total Wine. Now I say all that because I got sober in 2021 and stopped drinking, but was basically the face of an alcohol company with my 2 best friends. Started to explore non-alcoholic beverages, started to kind of see all these alternatives and these options popping up. And I found non-alcoholic bottle shops. So predominantly people on this call, I'm sure in your town or wherever you live, there might be a store that's solely dedicated just to non-alc products. Now it's a small little retail store. You walk in and buy it and you leave. It was through that experience that I was still believing that there's more to this non-alc experience and how can we bring this to life? So insert Softbar. I'm going to share my screen. I don't know if you're able to see. Well, give me one sec here.
Yep, totally have a green light to do that. Yep, I can see it.
This is like super confusing here. Is it full screen on your side?
No, not quite. I do see the URL and the tabs. Oh no, yeah, go there. You go. Presenter view, or yeah, weird. We see it, but it's not full screen. Should work though. I mean, it works.
I'm just gonna. I want it to look the way it should look.
Yeah. There we are. There you
Okay.
go. Yep, perfect.
All right, sorry. Yeah, so what I set out to create was Softbar, a mindful consumption bar and cafe. So I've been at this for a little over a year and a half now. I've been talking about it publicly for about 2.5 years. But really what I set out to create, like I said, is our mission is to be the leading brand and leading destination for mindful consumption. And really we do that through our innovative beverage program. And what I'll just, I'll walk you guys through a little bit about our beverages. But really what I wanted to create was a place you can come any time of day, regardless of how you describe your lifestyle, and sit down and have an amazing, whether it's a premium coffee. I actually don't drink coffee, so I like tea or cacao, matchas, and these other alternatives. But a lot of those alternatives only live direct to consumer. So taking it a step further, coffee certainly is in the morning, but then as the afternoon and evening continues on, we have an amazing non-alcoholic soft cocktail program. Now, we don't say the word mocktail here at Softbar. We're not making fun of anything. It's all very intentional, all very specific. We wanted to redefine the non-alcoholic experience, and we're doing that because of what's been going on in the industry. And again, Daniel, it's great to hear your brand and what you're building. I'd love to see some non-alc in that can or that aluminum bottle. But again, I mean, consumer insights are pretty important to what we were looking at when we were building this. And it's no secret, health and wellness is certainly booming. The run clubs, the yoga, the Pilates, people are really investing in their health and wellness. And obviously a part of that is, their consumption of products and how they're looking at their lifestyle. Certainly legalization of marijuana has shifted a lot of people's relationships with alcohol, whether they're consuming less or not consuming at all because of, those alternative options. People are able to take a gummy and not drink and wake up the next morning and feel a lot better. So we wanted to kind of, take a lot of these learnings because I truly believe there's a lot of product out there. There's a lot of amazing non-alc product. There's a lot of saturation. It really doesn't come to life anywhere. I get hit every day with a new non-alc product. I'm excited for them, but my thing is, where do you drink all this stuff? Where does it really come to life? And yes, non-alcoholic products are at some bars. Some restaurants do carry a mocktail or two, but what if you take it even further and really redefined and elevated that experience? So that's, again, what we're trying to do at Softbar. On the right-hand side, you'll notice, I mean, listen, I actually was fired from a corporation about 10 years ago because of my behavior from drinking at a corporate event. These days, I think corporate responsibility, if you're, a company looking out for your employees, you should be offering more non-alcoholic options and or putting them in, situations to actually succeed and not be, problematic. I'll leave you with this. I mean, non-alc is certainly on the rise. There's some amazing statistics, but I wanted to borrow something that, one of our advisors on our team comes from a long career at Anheuser-Busch. He spent a lot of time developing a lot of Anheuser-Busch's non-alc products, but we've used Japan as kind of an example for where the United States is going. Japanese culture has been a very large drinking culture, but there's been a huge shift in the last 10 years in Japan with the non-alcoholic beer, then into canned mocktails, and then taking it a step further into these functional drinks, which is something we are going to be doing at Softbar. It's not only just non-alcoholic products, but it's drinks that are going to make you feel good, using ingredients like electrolytes, vitamins, mushrooms, lion's mane, you name it. So we're kind of borrowing like the way Japan has been. And if you look at the US, I mean, we kind of joke that we're about 3 or 4 years behind Japan in a lot of their innovation. But right now, if you were to go over to Tokyo or some other areas there, you would find non-alcoholic bars. You'd find people that are gathering, at cafes and places in the evening, looking for that kind of social experience, all without the influence of alcohol. I borrowed a lot about Starbucks here. I mean, listen, I'm not trying to crap on Starbucks. They built an amazing company and brand, but I'd ask anybody here who's listening, I mean, are you doing business at Starbucks? Are you sitting down there and like taking a meeting there? I believe the days of that have kind of shifted. And even the CEO who just came on from Chipotle, Brian Niccol, I mean, he even said it in his open letter to his investors, which is our coffee's not that great and people don't really like to hang out here. So I see that as a huge opportunity, is again, taking kind of what Starbucks has built as this kind of beautiful community and this great products, but how can we extend that? And again, the U.S. Surgeon General just came out a few months ago and is talking about, alcohol can be linked to about 7 to 8 different cancers. Again, I wasn't trying to crap on alcohol here. I just believe there's definitely a huge shift that's continuing to happen. And I was blown away by this. 38% of Americans don't drink alcohol at all. They're just folks that just live their life. They don't talk about it. They go about it. And I really still believe there's an importance of having a place where, again, all this comes to life. So introducing Softbar, this is some of our imagery and some of our branding. Really proud of the work we put together here, but we were able to trademark the term Softbar. I was originally inspired because my head bartender is from 11 Madison Park, which is an amazing restaurant and spot here in New York City. He does an amazing soft cocktail program, and he had reached out to me because he had heard about what I was building. And he said, Carl, come in and try my drinks. And what he said to me when I sat down at the bar, he said, Carl, just because you're not having alcohol doesn't mean you deserve less. And I was like, that's it. That's very profound. And he served me an amazing non-alcoholic beverage, but it was in a nice glass. It had a garnish, it had a rim, and he's using advanced bartending techniques. So milk punching, fat washing. These are some terms I wasn't even familiar with, but in the advanced bartender world, he's applying that with non-alc. So really redefining and elevating that. But what he called his non-alcoholic drinks was softs, SOFTS. And then a week later, I actually was in Portugal at a wedding, and a couple of different bars I visited, the menus there said soft cocktails. So I came back to the US, I started Googling and searching, and no one really owned it. There's soft drinks, there's other terminology around soft, but no one really kind of wrapped their arms around it. And we were able to trademark it. And to me, it was ubiquitous. It's easy to remember. It's a 4-letter word. It's a destination. It's an experience. It's where you go to drink amazing non-alc drinks. Now, this is kind of an example menu of our offering. I mentioned our soft cocktail program. We're taking it a step further. There's a lot happening in functional drinks and functional ingredients. I mean, the original functional drink is coffee and tea, right? But now we have adaptogens. We've got electrolytes. We've got vitamins. We've got collagen. We've got a variety of ingredients that are being added into liquid. Now, a lot of this is happening in ready to drink. It's happening direct to consumer, but in a bespoke craft cocktail way, sitting down or walking in to Softbar. Hey, I got a big Republic pitch in an hour. I need to be focused and calm. We will be able to deliver that beverage to you on premise in a bespoke craft cocktail way. So I really believe that is a huge differentiator, because right now, if you want a functional drink, you got to buy it online and make it at home for the most part. We also are taking it into the mushroom coffee world. There's a ton happening in mushroom coffee. There's a ton happening with matcha, cacao, teas. There's a variety of options that really help deliver a focus and a calm without the jitteriness and the anxiousness. And I don't actually drink coffee. A lot of my team does, but Softbar is a destination and a place where you can walk in, either have an amazing premium cup of coffee or have an alternative. Because guess what? At some point, coffee stops working for you. If you've had your 3rd or 4th cup, you might need something a little bit different. And again, we can capture that. Now, you guys may be probably familiar with Athletic Brewing. They've done an incredible job. We are going to highlight and curate the best non-alcoholic beer, wine, and ready-to-serve beverage. Last but not least, we do have light food, healthy things that are from the local bakeries, partnering with some really amazing Brooklyn-based companies. As far as the consumer and who we're kind of going after, I've had a lot of people ask, Carl, is this a sober bar? And my answer is no. Yes, I'm sober. I stopped drinking in 2021, a little over 4 years. I haven't had alcohol. Very social, but it was important for me to create a space that's for everybody. Not everybody is comfortable maybe describing their relationship with alcohol, but I do know people are looking for a break, a night off, a moment off, doing something healthy for themselves. So we've kind of put together a few subsets of what our consumers look like, whether it's the person that's a quitter, it's a substituter, someone just looking to supplement. We believe that people will still incorporate maybe having a glass of wine, go into a nice restaurant, and then stopping at Softbar after for a calming, cool, soft cocktail. So we really feel like this is, part of your lifestyle. It's part of like how you're, trying to connect with other individuals in a more mindful way. Taking it, just a little more descriptive of the soft cocktail program, our functional benefits can provide either focus, calm, maybe a sleep, anti-inflammation, a variety of reasons for these benefits, and then also the mushroom coffee side. There's a ton happening in this space. Definitely pay close attention. I mean, I get sent stuff that's got mushrooms in it left and right, but it's mostly direct to consumer. So what we're trying to do again is you're coming in on a Wednesday morning, you got a big meeting, you can order a mushroom coffee to go or sit down. Just to back up and where we're located. So I live here in Brooklyn, New York. We have a beautiful location in Greenpoint, Brooklyn. It's adjacent to Williamsburg. If you're not familiar with Williamsburg, I mean, it's really like the epicenter of what's happening in New York with the restaurants, the retail, experiences. There's a lot of fitness and wellness. So you're actually looking at our kind of floor plan. On the top right is actually our design. We've got an industrial 2,300 square foot space. It's actually never been a bar and cafe before, but that was my thesis, is I wanted to take this experience and put it in a place that you wouldn't expect it to be. Because I almost believe that when you walk in, you're going to go, this is so cool. I just want to hang out here. I don't even care that they don't serve alcohol. They're going to make me, feel good. It's a cool experience. It's a cool vibe. So that's some renderings in the bottom right corner. Imagine kind of this third space kind of hangout, but into the evening, we've got a premium cocktail bar. People are on dates, people mingling, a variety of, options within our four walls. I mentioned the neighborhood. We're really perfectly positioned between some of the greatest bakeries, restaurants, and nightlife in New York. We're actually, right here at 200 Banker Street. Oops. And across the street from us is a Michelin-rated restaurant. And then next door to us is actually Brooklyn Brewery. Brooklyn Brewery is building a brand new headquarters. So they've been on Wythe Avenue right by Brooklyn Bowling for the last 100 years. I saw last year a big hole in the ground developing. I then saw Danny Meyer, whose daughter founded Cafe Pana. She put her second location right across from Brooklyn Brewery. And I'm like, something's happening here. This is a huge shift. So we got very fortunate because we have a really cool space and we've locked in a very low rent because I don't need a liquor license. So we're really able to kind of tap into a cool industrial space that never would have been available because it didn't have a liquor license. Now, step back and just how we've gotten here thus far. Like I mentioned at the beginning, I'm an entrepreneur. I've been living my life on television for the last 10 years on Bravo's Summer House. An original cast member. I started the show when I was 29. I'm now 40 years old. But the show really has been about my life and my friends. We have a good time. And Daniel, we spent a lot of time in the Hamptons. So, we'll probably see some of your wine out there this summer, but I've been fortunate with this platform. It's really allowed me to share my personal story. I've had a lot of ups and downs with alcohol and addiction. I've shared a lot about that, but I've been able to really leverage the momentum of my story and really drive that towards building Softbar. But the key ingredient of Bravo, and nobody on this call needs to watch the show or anything. It's more about what does this provide our brand and our company right now, which is a leg up. Customer acquisition costs are insanely high right now. The landlords are Google and Facebook. To date with Softbar, we haven't had to spend any money on marketing at all. We've already grown our Instagram account to 27,000 followers. We've done events, we've done pop-ups, we've generated revenue. And this is, again, all on the heels of just, my platform, the authentic story I've been telling, and the brand I had been building for the last 6 years. Those are my two best friends, Kyle and Amanda. That's our Loverboy product. The reason I mentioned Loverboy is we've spent very little on marketing, and we've grown that brand nationwide across Whole Foods and Walmart. So I'm going to wrap it up. I know we had a few minutes, but I kind of breezed through. But again, similar to some of the other founders on this call, I was inbounded by many people wanting to get involved. How can people really connect with what we're building? Because people that are living, more mindfully or looking for alternatives, this is something people really deeply connect with, and we felt it was important to offer an opportunity to consumers, to our followers, to own a piece of Softbar and really buy into this kind of vision we're building. I mean, we want to build more than one location. So the Brooklyn location is our flagship, but again, we want to stand that up properly. And the funds that we're raising is to stand up our first location. We've raised a fair amount of money thus far, but like I said, with my platform and my social following, it was a no-brainer to, offer it to those who, wanted to participate at maybe a smaller minimum. Happy to answer any questions. Really appreciate you guys, and thank you.
All right, sorry about that. This was awesome. Thank you for that presentation. I've been following the chat as well. Jake, talking about your 4 cups of coffee. I'm sure you just crushed one right before this. So thanks for the engagement. Honestly, I appreciate that. And Carl, that's really cool. Actually, I want to hit you with one question before we get into a quick
Yeah.
Q&A. We had someone mentioning. It's funny actually. When I go into the office, I'm in Brooklyn right now as we speak. But when I go into the office every morning, we got collagen, we got lion's mane, we got all sorts of different, like, we have a whole bar of like powders on our cafeteria, or in our kitchen. Is that stuff you're going to be selling as well? I mean, like enhanced. We also had a CBD THC infused question in there. Like, what are some of the options that are going to be at Softbar?
Yeah, so right out of the gates, marijuana is not legal here in New York. It's kind of a gray area. And we wanted to build a mindful experience. We are kind of keeping a close eye on the THC CBD. But right now, kind of waiting till some of the legalities kind of sort out. I mean, there's a bodega down the street from me that just got raided the other day and shut down because they sell THC products. So we're gonna be a little more careful on that front. But our core product lines obviously will be the soft cocktails, the non-alc drinks, but our functional drinks are supported by, we have a doctor of nutrition on our team, Dr. Brooke Scheller. She's written books on functional ingredients and functional sobriety. So she's helped inform kind of our POV on a lot of the ingredients we're using. I mean, we just recently worked with it was a fat burning kind of ingredient called carnitine. We are looking at the collagens of the world, taking it even further into the mushrooms. There's a lot happening there, but on my team, we do have a nutritionist to kind of help guide those innovations. But our menu out of the gate is going to be kind of lean and keeping it very focused, but we will rotate things out seasonally. We will have some, probably some different brands that we feature or partner with. But yeah, that's kind of I don't know if I highlighted this, but we really want to be a place where you can get together with a community fellowship. It could be a run club, it could be a yoga group, but our space, like you saw, is really a destination for anybody to come to get together. So we're gonna have a lot of events and programming and interesting things like that.
Awesome. Well, definitely, I'll be at the opening, for sure. Okay, I want to switch gears a little bit. I want to head back into the tech space for a second here, Alex. I'm gonna get started with you. Wake up. All right. So you talk to investors all the time, and I'd love to hear what gets them really excited about Bitterbrains. What are some of the things they might push back on a little bit when you're talking to them?
Mhm. That's an interesting conversation. For us at Bitterbrains, investors usually get excited and surprised with the fact that we have been fully bootstrapped for so many years. Like initially, we didn't want to raise for various reasons. We always focused on like being community first and wanting to serve specific needs for our community and for our audience. That always started in a platonic way. We were speaking with developers. We were trying to help them, and this like kept growing and growing and growing to reaching like over $2 million in revenue, like after many years of hard work and loyalty. And yeah, this also ties with the other thing that gets investors excited, which is the size of the community and the power. Like right now, we have hundreds of thousands of developers who appreciate our products and they use any of our like 17 platforms that we run today. So there is the strong trust and loyalty with all of these people, which is long term, and it's an interesting story how we see like how like having a community and having like making education accessible and helping people, like how it can like pay back over time, like when you have the time to do the commercials right. And a story I always tell to the investors that they find interesting is that we try to make all of the content accessible, and we know we have a very large like audience that only a fraction buy when we make a new product. So when we used to make new like very like cheap, affordable products, we would always have about 1,000 people who would buy this. So when we will make a new product priced at $10, we will make $10 times 1,000, we will have $10,000. And after many years, when we decided to try like a high ticket product, when we priced our certifications and the more like complex products at $500, then we still had the same amount of people that enrolled on the first day. So we had $500,000 in one day. So it's very interesting when you think about like what it means to be a community, right? And having a lot of different products. So today we kind of try to make a blend of all of this. So we have like cheap products, we have affordable products, we have special pricing for countries where they have like an expensive conversion rate or where the salary is low. So we try to cater for everyone. And at the same time, we're very mindful of making sure we always have high ticket products and like more premium services for the fraction of our community who can afford and want to invest, and they have high return on investment by training, upskilling, like getting validation for their skills, and they get like really good jobs also, like and career like trajectory over time, which makes them coming like back again and again, having a very high retention there.
Yeah, I mean, similar to a university, the clout of a university is kind of within its graduates and the income that the jobs that they can land. So similar to yourself, if you're upscaling individuals and they're landing good jobs, they're going to keep coming back for some more learning from you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the ROI is
please.
like, for the colleges, it's also like it's a controversial subject. Like a lot of developers, like and technical workers in general, they prefer to be, like self-taught nowadays or doing some online bootcamp, something like this that costs them way less time and cash investment, and it can give them the same or sometimes better like job opportunities.
Yeah. I mean, even internally, we look at experience equally, if not greater than, some of the, scholastic or academic credentials that somebody has. Philip, would love to pass it over to you. Ask that same exact question. A little bit of a different industry, but still in the tech space and the finance space. What gets investors really excited when they hear about Monorail when you're talking to them, and potentially what are some of the pushback or concerns you hear from investors as well?
I guess the excitement would be that kind of the first fintech application that's offering products and services, financial products and service to a conservative audience, that it didn't exist before us. So people are excited to be able to invest knowing where their money is. I guess concerns for investors would be maybe more, it's a kind of a niche within a niche market, right? So we're not just raising money in just the fintech space, right? It's a conservative fintech space. So it tightens it a little bit there, if that answers your question.
It does, yeah. And I actually had another question there. Well, something you answered, but you wrote out an answer. It's only going to go over to Rosie. Would love to hear you talk about the first business venture that you had in your career and how that kind of fueled and prepared you for Monorail.
Yeah, definitely. As I mentioned before, I've grown up in Wall Street and finance. So the first company is a retail practice out of Florida called HD Money that's it still exists, does very well, more in the wealth management space, in a higher net worth demographic, but that you can see that company, it still exists, still around and still growing.
Yeah, amazing. Well, thanks a bunch. Daniel, love to pass it over to you. Kind of ask that same question, and I'll sift through the chat roll. I think you and Carl have a couple other questions littered throughout here. But first and foremost, what gets investors super excited about Currently Wine? What are some of the concerns you might also hear when you're talking to investors?
I think the thing that gets people most excited is that they see and recognize that this is something different.
Yeah.
And in the wine space, which is, there's thousands of wine brands, and they usually are doing the same thing, which is, hey, here is my family's plot of land, and this is the reason why our grapes make this delicious terroir driven flavor profile thing, right? I mean, and then they use like pretty much the same script. I mean, crap, even Josh, kind of mock used that same script, and it's not really a mock, I don't even think. it feels like it's all the same, right? And so the only way I think, there's this amazing book actually called Different, by a Harvard Business School professor. Um, and she talks about, like, the way that brands break through is by being intentional about which things they're going to be different about. And we are certainly being different by building a coastal lifestyle brand that is communicating to a certain market. I know it's interesting for everybody also on the call to think whether or not you are the actual buyer, because that's one thing for me that I've had to check myself on. Like, I'm a wine snob. I spend a lot of money on, like, red wine, and like, I'm not how most people are who drink wine. Like 80% of wine that's purchased is under $15 a bottle. So we at $20 a bottle here are already in a premium category of discerning, higher spending consumers. So the thing that I think probably on the flip side that people would say, that they would be hesitant about, um, is just that, it's hard to break through, right? Like, there's only, there will be what's the next Josh, right? I mean, there will be other brands that break through. It always happens, right? Someone just put in their Poppy, which is not an alcohol company, but there's always new consumer beverages. And why is that? It's because people want to be associated with the next cool thing, and people recognize when something hits, from a brand perspective and from a product perspective too. So so why not currently? Jake. So yeah, I do think that, I think it's hard. But I also think that we are already breaking through. And I was just talking to somebody, who reached out to me because he sees what I'm building in public, and he wants to help me make some sales introductions on Nantucket. And he said, I don't know if I would be able to help make these recommendations if you were just like some nice guy with, like, your family's wine brand kind of thing. But this is different, and this has impact behind it, right? Like, I view brands like Patagonia, as brands that inspire me, in how I'm building this, right? You have a bunch of people wearing Patagonia who aren't necessarily caring about all the intentionality behind that brand. But then there's a subset of those people that love Patagonia that are deeply loyal to it because of that intentionality. And I think that we're trying to do the same thing.
That's a great comparison. If you get a chance, listen to the How I Built This podcast with the founder of Patagonia. That is it's great. He's a brilliant person. Carl, I would love to ask that same question over to you as well. You're talking to investors all the time, no doubt. What gets them really psyched? What are some of the things that they might push back on?
Yeah, I mean, I think that gets people most excited is I have a superior team. I have experts in their field, whether it's my head bartender from 11 Madison Park, my coffee expert. I've got a COO who's got a long history of, operating businesses here in Brooklyn. I've got superior products. So, like I said, our non-alcoholic drinks are premium. We use high quality ingredients. The taste profiles, the advanced bartending techniques. I also believe we have a superior location. So where we're positioned geographically, I think is really well suited. And then also the experience that we're delivering. We've done a lot of events thus far with major brands like Kate Spade, Lululemon. They've been either, wellness, mental health, run clubs. The folks that have came up to me after these events have all said, I forget I'm not even drinking alcohol because I'm having such a connected, mindful experience because of the drinks that we're providing, the quality and how they taste, and they're making you feel good. I think some pushback that I've gotten, which, quite frankly, is more about the business model is, people aren't drinking alcohol. Are they going to be buying multiple beverages? And kind of my theory and thesis is if you're offering people a lot of options or things that they're actually looking for, they're going to buy multiple. Like I know for myself, if I'm at a bar that has a Heineken Zero, an Athletic, and maybe another one, I'm going to drink all three. But a lot of places don't even they give you a Heineken Zero and that's it, or maybe one mocktail. But at Softbar, I really believe we're creating such a unique experience that people will maybe order a mushroom coffee, have a non-alcoholic beer. or have a, non-alcoholic ready to drink wine or whatever it might be. So, some people have some concerns about the fact that, New York City, a lot of restaurants and bars are built on the margin of alcohol, and we're removing that to a degree, but we're still providing an incredible experience. Another element of our business model is events and partnerships. A lot of these new non-alc products, I can relate to Daniel in a lot of ways with some of these distributor things and getting your brand out there. With our brand Loverboy, it's hard to get in the door sometimes. So we want to be a place where, if you're a new non-alc brand, you'd want to launch it at Softbar, because this is actually where it would come to life. A lot of the brands are launching direct to consumer, which is great, but how do you take it a step further? So we want to be that spot. But yeah, I mean, the last pushback I get is, hey, Carl, have you ever opened a bar before? And the answer is no. But I brought in, experts that have stood up bars and restaurants. We have a team of designers and an architect we're working with that has also done a lot of bar and restaurant builds. Funny enough, there are neighbors in Greenpoint. So there's a lot of just, cohesiveness with, what I've done. And the things I don't know, I've certainly tapped people to answer those questions.
For sure. I mean, yeah, personally, I have not yet given up alcohol, but I am eager for the change of pace from loud bumping music and
You're actually the perfect
yeah.
you're the perfect customer, because this is a stat that I'll leave everybody with, and it blew me away. We were researching launching our Loverboy non-alcoholic beverage about 2.5 years ago, and my best friend Kyle Cook said to me, he goes, Carl, did you know 94% of the non-alc drinks that are sold to people that still drink alcohol? So it's a large subset of people that are buying these products, taking a little bit of a break, or taking a moment, or their wife is pregnant and they're joining her for that period of time. People have this disease, autoimmune, Lyme issues. There's a lot of reasons why people aren't drinking. But again, it was important when we're building our business is this is for everybody. Come as you are. You could have a couple drinks across the street at the Rule of Thirds. Come on in. We have an amazing drink that's going to make you feel good. You're going to have an amazing experience. And then if you need to go back to a bar or restaurant down the street, go for it. I wanted that to be an important part, because a lot of folks, it's not necessarily, I'm sober or not. They're just looking for a great tasting product in a cool environment.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, no doubt. Just an anecdotal observation. I would say to play to both sides of this. People are even astounded by the statistics. It's facts. I mean, people are moving in the non-alc direction. I'd also say people are getting more selective when they do drink. And I know I would put myself in that bucket as well. So yeah, excited about both of your brands there. I know we're over an hour here, and I genuinely want to thank everyone for tuning in to this event for a few minutes extra, and to all the panelists. I'm going to get it back to the beginning, Alex, and would love to hear just a few closing remarks as you speak to your investors or the audience at large. Just tell us a little bit more about Bitterbrains and wrap us up.
Okay, sure. So yeah, Bitterbrains, today is a very exciting time in our business. Like I said, for the first 7 years, we were focused in supporting the view industry. And this last year, we're super excited to replicate this success. We have already started doing that with Angular, React, and we're looking to close the spectrum. And we're very happy to be raising our first round, which is this crowdfunding on Republic. We wanted to raise first from our friends, family, and our community before we consider the next rounds, which can be likely either private investors or maybe some VCs. As we look to also introduce the new department of the business for the AI, that will be training developers to use and develop the applications of the future. And we expect the developer job will change completely. Devs will not be doing the jarring tasks and the work how it is done today, but they will be managing AI agents and using all of these tools to be 10 times more productive. And this is our job to be ready, get into these technologies and train the development community internationally to be ready for that. So yeah, I would love to have people join us on our mission. And we are very confident that we will have a very bright future ahead.
Are you do you have a virtual background, or what game is that behind you?
No, this is my real background.
Yeah.
This is a Street Fighter machine.
It's awesome. Well,
Thanks.
yeah, thank you so much for tuning in here. Get a game or two in before you go to bed. I know it's a little bit later in the day for you, but who knows? You might be pulling an all-nighter again, I guess.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having
Yeah.
me.
Alex, I appreciate it, man. Philip, would love to pass it over to you. Just a quick closing remark, and I also saw one trickling question in AI front of mind for everyone. I'd love to have you touch on this as you close this out. How are you going to incorporate that? Is it already incorporated into Monorail, and do you view that as a threat potentially with other people incorporating AI into any auto investing activity?
Yeah, we're already using it on different facets of the business. Obviously, customer service. There's different investing ways that we're utilizing it, especially on an educational side of things. So we're definitely keeping our eye on that, especially with the amount of years of our team has in the business. But the most exciting thing for what we're doing and where we're going is the partnerships that we're already making, the assets under management that we already have with Lara Trump, Charlie Kirk, uh, Candace Owens, a lot of famous conservative influencers starting to pick us up. We know that we're going to see, just like some of the other fintech apps in the more secular space, we're already moving fast towards other partnerships. I won't say it on this call, but there's other partnerships in the works. But we're adding crypto soon, so it's probably like the 12 largest cryptos. That's huge in the conservative space. If you see any statistics, conservatives are huge on that decentralization message. So cryptocurrency. But yes, AI is something that we're already incorporating, but on the investing side, we're keeping our eye on it and looking at how we're going to utilize it in different aspects of our technology. But super excited, definitely, reach out to myself via Republic and happy to answer more questions after this and let you know more of the investment opportunity.
Please do. And that goes for all the founders here, all the panelists. Jump onto their discussion boards on their campaign page and reach out to them, ask them a question, shoot them an email. I promise you they'd love to engage with you. And Philip, really appreciate that. Makes a lot of sense. Daniel, I would love to pass it over to you. Just a quick closing remark.
Yeah, it's actually been really cool to be on this with Carl because I think maybe some people would be like, "Oh my gosh, is that?" No, I mean, the reality is most of the people who are enjoying quality premium non-alcoholic beverages drink alcohol. And I had a delicious soft cocktail today at this photo shoot event that we were doing in Newport. I didn't want to have a drink in the middle of the day and then try to come on this webinar and be stumbling all over the place and not be able to unmute it. Oh wait, I couldn't do that anyway. So yeah, I think that's super cool. And by the way, wine that doesn't have alcohol in it actually starts tasting as good as I want it to play for my brand, I'm gonna make an NA. People have asked me that a lot actually, because I'm going after a demographic 25 to 45-year-old, predominantly female, not exclusively, and we're going to have other SKUs. This was asked in some of the questions that will not make us just skew so much female. We will have a rosé, we will have a red blend and we'll also have a sparkling wine. All of these wines stylistically will be 0 grams of sugar. They are light, crisp, refreshing, can be enjoyed with or without food and lightly chilled, and are great, again, for these use cases that we're talking about that get opened up. Someone asked about, is wine, does wine does the taste get affected by it being in aluminum? We drink a lot of things in aluminum, and a lot of people don't question whether or not they taste different because of that. But there is a stigma, I think, in some ways about wine. And I mean, the answer is no. But if you left wine, just like anything, in aluminum for too long, like for years, then it would go bad. And so we are going to be building this wine company where we're bottling frequently, keeping product fresh, more like a beer company. But it tastes delicious. The feedback is really delicious. So yeah, I think that was probably all I wanted to say. We don't have much more time left in my fundraise thing on Republic. It closes on April 21st. So if anybody has any questions, please do reach out. Also, check us out on Instagram. We have over 10,000 followers on Instagram. We got a lot going on with the brand. Again, we're building this coastal lifestyle brand that's meant to be different, and we're getting a lot of attention. And I think we're getting the attention for the right reasons because we're making a lot of intentional choices around community and around ownership, and people feel that with the brand and that they're bringing it to their friends and their family and they're wanting to tell other people about it. And we're getting noticed by the industry as well.
Amazing. Excited to follow yourself and follow everyone else here. Carl, wrap us up, please.
No, thank you, just everybody, for the opportunity to, kind of share more about what we've been building. I'm very passionate, obviously, about this world of non-alcoholic beverage, mindful consumption, and I'm not here to, like I said, say that alcohol is terrible. It's, I want to, like I said, create a space that, anybody can come any time of day, however they describe their lifestyle or their relationship with alcohol. But it was important for us to really create a space that has zero influence of alcohol. I really do believe there's a need for kind of a third space, an alternative kind of gathering place that isn't your work, isn't your home. It's not a diner and it's not a church basement, and this I hope is, for folks that are looking to do something healthy for themselves or do something, quality. And I really believe the team and the program we've put together can accomplish that. We will be opening our doors this summer. I didn't mention we actually aren't officially open. We're currently under construction, but you can find us at 200 Banker Street on the corner of White Avenue and Greenpoint, Williamsburg. We're right on the edge there. So we'll be opening our doors July, August, and expect, to be able to find an amazing beverage, but also there's gonna be programming, events. I'm doing a lot with, I'd love to even have a founder of a brand come in and speak about some of their products, and really taking it a step further, because I do think there's a massive, people are looking to learn and looking to understand these products as well. So yeah, I can't wait to open our doors. We have a beautiful design and we're slowly getting closer, but just honored and grateful to be a part of this and some amazing companies, and you guys have built some really cool things. So thank you for, this has been great.
You got it, and no doubt, all four of you have built incredible things. Excited to follow all of them. And to the attendees who tuned in for what are we at 80 minutes now? Thank you for the time this afternoon. We'll have this event next month, of course. Last plug, please do visit all of these four deal pages. Engage with the founders. They want to tell you more about what they're building. But I'll leave it there. Everyone have a great afternoon, a great evening. We'll see you next time. And thank you to the
Thanks,
panel.
guys.
Thanks.
Thanks, Greg.